Live from a place no longer colder than Mars, it's the Rust Belt warming up in February. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Here are three big things you need to know. 3, after record-shattering cold, the Polar Vortex is finally out of here. And by this time Sunday, we'll be on our way to the 40s, maybe the 50s. 2, Howard Schultz is giving a cold chill to the Democrats, and he's digging in for a race for president.
Government takeover of health care, government takeover of free college for everyone, a job for everyone, which tallies about $40 trillion on a basis of a $21.5 trillion level of debt.
And 1, Democrats finally coming clean. They don't care about abortions being safe, legal, and rare. They're just fine killing kids, even after they're born.
Right now, women are able to access an abortion in the later stages of pregnancy under certain conditions with the approval of medical doctors.
Let's get to it for Friday, February 1st, 2019. The good news being that the polar vortex is finally on its way out. It's still sub-zero now, -4, -5, but it's not 15 below and howling wind. What a joy. Schools will be back in session today. The 1-week school week. 1-day school week, I should say. Good for you, kids. My kids are crushed. They didn't break the record. They didn't tie the record of 5 consecutive days off for winter weather. Still holds the record, 1978, the big blizzard, of course. But as you look around, you find that all sorts of records were broken. In Cotton, Minnesota, the actual air temperature, -56 during this little episode. -56 actual air. That's a bit sharp. It was 4 degrees short of Minnesota's all-time lowest temperature, but good golly. That's pretty incredible. -56 actual air there. Let's see here. In Illinois, the state might have a new low temperature. They have to have it verified. But in Mount Carroll, Illinois, -38 actual air on Thursday morning. The temperature measured by a trained weather observer, according to the National Weather Service. The data will be examined by the Weather Service at the state climatology to be certified as the lowest temperature ever recorded, which would exceed -36 set in 1999. Isn't it interesting that these temperatures that they're breaking are from 10 or 20 years ago, not from 100 years ago? Makes you say, well, wait a second. I thought that we're in this incredible warming period, which we are to some extent, but still these incredibly cold temperatures being recorded here. In the Quad Cities, along the Iowa-Illinois line there, -29 was recorded, and then it went even deeper to -33, setting an all-time record there. Rockford hit -30, setting an all-time record there. Park Rapids, Minnesota, -42. Let's see here. Warren, Minnesota, -47. Lisbon, North Dakota, -46. And on and on and on. Pretty incredible weather pattern, and I find it interesting for that reason, because it doesn't happen every winter. Although I will say this, we were talking about this in the office yesterday. The winter of 2013-14, 5 years ago, the winter 5 years ago was much more severe. It was the third coldest winter in Michigan history, and it was brutally cold, and we had just tons of snow. It was so bad, in fact, at the radio stations here, half of the parking lot by mid-February wasn't even useful because it was piles of snow. You had the front-end loaders coming in, and you couldn't even use most of the parking lot. So there you go. All right, shifting gears now to a story that doesn't go anywhere. What is the agenda for the Democrats headed to 2020, which, by the way, Elizabeth Warren set to make her official announcement. Cory Booker set to make an official announcement. It's going to be a pack of wolves and jackals and hyenas running for the Democratic Party, and of course Howard Schultz, the most hated man in Democratic circles right now. But what is the agenda? Single-payer health care, a wealth tax, the Green New Deal, an increase in the death tax, returning business taxes to where they were, gun control, income tax, by the way, now being suggested at 90%. By Omar Ilhan, the congresswoman from Minnesota, who's also fairly anti-Semitic from what it sounds. Plus open borders. What do they really want? They want single-party rule. They want for us what California has, which is runaway socialism, reckless behavior, and power, baby. Lots and lots of power. All in their hands, all concentrated in their hands. It's not just single payer, it's single party rule, which is what they have in effect in California right now, where, by the way, millions of dollars now being set aside to take care of illegal aliens and their health care needs, all of it. California is already broke, if you were unaware, and now they're becoming an open welfare agencies for people who get there from anywhere in the world, which is what they want America to be. They want us to be the welfare check for the entire nation, or for the entire world, I should say. We want our nation to be the welfare office for the world. We can't afford that. It's not sensible. It's not, well, it's just outrageous is what it is. But the Democratic Party, because as I go down that list, the one thing I didn't mention was postnatal abortion. So postnatal abortion, single-payer health care, wealth taxes to be increased, the Green New Deal, which would be onerous and put the thumb on all of us, increasing the death tax, increasing the business tax, a lot more gun control, pushing the income tax and the highest marginal rate to 90%. Why don't they just make it 100%? We'll just keep everything. Well, wait a second. That is what they want. That's what they did in Venezuela, of course. You know how that's turned out. Took the most prosperous nation in South America in 20 years' time, between Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. They have destroyed the most prosperous economy in South America. One of the richest nations on earth, Venezuela, is now what Donald Trump might refer to as a hole. A bit of a hole. Clearly, you can't say on the air, by the way. Can't say that, so. But the hospitals have no supplies. The grocery stores are empty. The average person in Venezuela has lost more than 20 pounds in the last 12 months. The place is destitute. It's a wreck. It's been destroyed by promises that couldn't be kept, because here's what they promised people in Article 83, free health care, free housing, free transportation, free food, free everything was promised to the people. It was utopia. They were going to pay for it all. Hugo Chavez and the ruling dictator class, Nicolas Maduro, now the ruling dictator in Venezuela, backed up by Cuba, backed up by Russia. They were going to bring utopia to the people of Venezuela. What they brought was misery and destruction. Millions have fled now. You know that. Millions have fled. And as I look at this agenda for the Democrats in 2020, what's the difference? I mean, seriously, open borders, which is basically a call for every welfare recipient in the world to come here. Cranking the income tax on those that do well in this world, like Howard Schultz, which we'll get back to. Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks, the guy that made himself a billionaire after he bought one coffee shop in 1987. Expanded gun control, jacking up the business tax. Now, how is it, please help me here, how is it that you hear the Democrats say again and again and again, we're for jobs, we want jobs, we want to help people have jobs in the middle class, and yet they attack business. They attack business at every turn. How can you love jobs and hate businesses? Unless, of course, you think the government should supply everybody with a job and destroy all businesses, which we've tried, which, again, we go back, we have an example, we call it Venezuela. You can't love jobs and hate businesses. It's like Christians against Christ. I mean, come on. Get a clue. 14 after, it's the Steve Gruber Show. It's a Friday. I think I need more coffee.
The Michigan Chamber of Commerce is on the job every day fighting to deliver powerful business advocacy and political action vital to the success of Michigan businesses. The Michigan Chamber of Commerce is working to make Michigan the best state in the country to live, work, raise a family, or build a business by strengthening communities and improving our quality of life. We work to improve workforce readiness and build the entrepreneurial spirit that has powered and defined Michigan for decades. The Michigan Chamber of Commerce, on the job every day fighting for Michigan's future. MIChamber.com.
Hey parents, finding it hard to communicate with kids in today's world of ever-changing slang?
Hi, son.
Excuse me?
Introducing the Communicizer. Just strap non-toxic Communicizer to your mouth and go from boring old man speak,
I'm here if you want to talk,
to 100% off the chain.
Text me whenever, yo.
It's that easy.
Thanks to Communicizer, I'm relevant to my kids again. I'm fly, boo.
And now when you buy Communicizer, you get the auto-tune attachment free. Sounds so hip-hop, your kids will want to talk to you for hours.
I used to have to walk 3 miles uphill to school every morning, Shorty.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, son.
Communicizer is not available in stores because it doesn't exist. But that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Being a mother-to-be is both exciting and overwhelming. From shopping for the best stroller to deciding which birthing center to use, there's lots of choices to make. Fortunately, the Economic Alliance for Michigan Maternity Care Project can help. It's an online resource for a mom-to-be in Michigan to educate herself on her options. Visit eamonline.org. That's eamonline.org. Then click Maternity Care Project, a public service announcement from the Economic Alliance for Michigan.